I recently bought 5-star tools under $20 off of Alibaba, and there were some real gems in there. Today, I'm gonna put them through the paces, see if they're really 5 stars or just a waste of your money. That is so nice. Next up is a specialty tool that if it works, I'm gonna be very excited about. Let's open this little guy up here, this little nondescript box with a couple Allen wrenches. This is a super simple tool in theory. Let's get it out of this packaging. But all it is just a little cutter that is inside a jig, and we can use this to chamfer. They call this the Chamfer Planer Woodworking Edge Banding Corner Trimming Tool. And that, my friends, is what I'm excited about. This guy gets 4.9 stars and comes in at $13.22. Now, again, I feel like that's overpriced for what it is, but if it works, it works. It also did come with a few different cutter heads. So basically there were 3 different options for cutter heads, and I got the package that had all 3 because I'm a big spender. $13, baby. Let's go. So looks like we just have little different size radiuses on these, but this one is a chamfer. And if it works on edge banding, it's gonna be a game changer for me. With cabinet making, I have made a lot of drawers, and if you're using plywood, sometimes I like to put edge banding on them. So I just put this edge banding on here a few minutes ago, but the thing is that then you have to trim the edge banding. So I've got these really cool snips that will snip the end, but the problem is chamfering that. So usually I just use a hand sander, sanding block, something like that, but if I could put a nice consistent chamfer on it, that would be nice. So let's try it out. So I'm just going with the stock cutter that is on here. That did not work very well. Let's try another pattern. Ooh. That was awesome. Look at this. All right, I'll try to get a good close-up of this, but this did a pretty bang up job. Oh, that was brilliant. All right, I'm gonna flip this around and try to get on the other side. That is so nice. Now, you are gonna have to deal with a little bit of the grain direction a bit, so like getting it started can be kind of hard. And I'm sure you're gonna have tear out, but that's just the nature of edge banding on some of that. A lot of times I'll go too far on one side or something like this, but this gives you that perfect little angle, and I could switch over to get an even bigger round over if I wanted to, but I think I really like this nice tight one right here. This is perfect for edge banding. This is definitely a 5-star tool. For this next one, I think the saying goes, a woodworker can never have too many free pallets. No. Bottles of glue. No. Clamps. A woodworker can never have too many clamps. So we've actually got a couple specialty clamps. And the first one came in this nice little bag. And this will work great, I hope, on my workbench, which has dog holes in it. So it's a little ratcheting dog hole clamp. Now this is the 19 or 20 millimeter. I got the, I don't know which one I got. I got whichever one fits my holes. They're 3/4 of an inch. Desktop dog hole fixing clamp. So it's an adjustable clamp that ratchets. This guy came in at 4.8 stars and $18.81. So not cheap, but these things are pretty awesome. Now this, I believe, is just a cheaper version of this guy here, which is the Bessie ratchet clamp. This is made for the MFTs though. This is a 20 millimeter dog hole. 19 millimeter, which is 3/4 of an inch, is what I have on this workbench. So unfortunately I have these, I just can't use them. But this guy runs about 40 bucks. This guy is less than half of that. So let's see how it works. Now, of course, I did get 2 of these guys because, you know, you gotta have 2 clamps. 1 clamp doesn't really do you much good. So let's see here. First of all, these holes I know are a little undersized because I cut them and, you know, wood moisture and movement and all that good stuff. So don't blame the clamp on that. That's just wood movement. But let's see if I just put my little board down here and if I want to clamp it down, how does this work? Ooh, that's nice. That's real nice. Drop it down and then just clamp. That is solid. Now let's see how this undoes. The Bessie definitely has more mass here in the shaft there, so I'm sure it could probably take more force. This guy's like half of that. So for sure, this one's gonna be stronger, but you know, we're just kind of holding down stuff onto the bench. That's the beauty of this style clamp, is you can just hold things down on the bench really quick and fast. That is nice. Now, obviously we don't know about longevity. These do seem a little more clunky, but I tell you what, I stuck them in the dog holes, clamped down nice and strong and sturdy. I think these are a 5-star tool. We'll see how well they last, but yeah, these work great. And because you can never have too many clamps, our next tool is another clamp here. This is the multifunction belt clamp. And I love that they call it a belt clamp versus a band clamp. I feel like I just want to take off my belt and just start clamping things up. Like, why haven't we ever thought about that? But they call this the Frame Clips Multifunction Blet Clamp, not belt clamp, / band clamp polygon clip. This guy gets 4.9 stars and it comes in $8.38. The box is quite beat up. Let's see how it is inside. All right, here we go. Kind of looks like a train wreck. Now, once again, I am going to be comparing this to a Bessie product, because Bessie makes some of the best clamps, and I love their band clamps. Like, I don't use them all the time, but when you need them, you need them. And I actually used this during the How to Make Perfect Miter Joints. This video was a long time ago. So if you were around back then and saw this video, leave me a comment. Let me know who the OGs are out there. But this one is great. This one, I've got my suspicions. This just feels super cheap. Everything's very plasticky and not in a good way. But you know, the proof is in the pudding, as they say. I don't have any pudding, but I do have this horrible looking belt clamp. So I want to start with the Bessie just to show you what a nice band clamp should look like. So I can just pull this, and first and foremost, this has a self-contained wrapping and recoiling mechanism. You have to have that, in my opinion, for a nice band clamp. So we open this guy up, then we can kind of wrap it around. This has nice little articulating jaws. And so I can loosen it up. This is all the way loose. Now I'll put my 4 corners on here. And if I need to unwrap it a little bit more, I just pull right on that piece there. So I've got this all nice and tight now. And then I can reel in this piece here, and then I can tighten by the handle right there. Right? So that went pretty nice, pretty easily. Now let's see how our competitor works. So right off the bat here, this is just zip tied. If I undo this zip tie, this thing is just gonna, I'm gonna have 30 feet of friggin' nylon rope, whatever. So let's see how that's supposed to work. And the little picture they show, it wraps. So it's almost like it's supposed to stay there. Like that's how you contain it, is just like this. I don't think that's gonna work real well. So let me try to unwind it. I don't know, maybe it will, who knows? So if I just like slide this thing around, I'm not clipping this. All right, here we go, there we go, okay. Once it starts getting loose, it should go a little bit more. I'm done with this. I'm flabbergasted is what I am. Just gonna pull it around. Oh, well, apparently I am cutting that. All right, now I got a nice big floppy, oh gosh, these things. Oh, these things all came off. Let's try to get these back on here. I want to give this an actual go. Where'd the other one? Seriously. Oh, that's the 4th one there. That rests on a corner. This is not a confidence-inspiring locking mechanism. I can tighten there and then tighten it up. All right, this thing is not good. One of the great things about the Bessie clamp is it has these little rotating heads there, and so it clamps around, so there's no pressure actually here in the middle on the corner. Now, these guys, it does not have that at all. So you can see right here, it's actually giving pressure more on one side than it is the other. Yeah, that's a problem. Then I've got this thing, this is bad. This is bad. This is bad. I believe these guys run about $23, $25. I would highly suggest to pick up one of these versus wasting $8 on this piece of junk. Yeah, if anybody wants this, just let me know. I'm giving this 1 star. Next up, we're actually going to the doweling and positioning. So I just thought it looked really cool. This is an angled doweling jig. Oh, I just love a nice solid piece of aluminum. It looks great. It's got the nice writing on it here. Basically, this is the drill dowels at different angles. We got 30, 45, and then of course straight in there. And this has a centering side for if you want to do it on something round. All right, so this guy is the V Drill Guide 30, 45, and 90 degree angled drill guide jig. So not for dowels necessarily, but for drilling holes at these different angles. This one did come in at 5 stars, but it also was slightly over budget, $21.06. But I just thought this guy looked so cool, I had to buy it. And you can definitely change these bushings in and out, which is nice. But also this is in Freedom units. Check it out. It says right there, 3/16 of an inch. We've got a 1/4 inch, 5/16, and 3/8. And that's on all of these. And you could obviously switch these bushings around, and I could borrow the 3/8. If I wanted to do 3 3/8 inch holes, I could put them all right there, which is pretty cool. One thing I thought was really cool is it has this depth stop, and it's actually extendable. It's 2 pieces here. We're going to screw this thing together. And then this bad boy can come right through there and put in this pin on top to lock it in place. So if I want to drill some holes in this, boom, I could do that and go across different pieces of material. And this depth stop is kind of cool, but the end here, this thing's just kind of like spinning around and loosens. Don't really love that. And also it is like a really mirror finish chrome and there's no flats on it. And with a thumb screw that's really small, putting it down as hard as I can still really easily just twist this. So I wish there was a flat on here where you could really lock it in, but maybe I'm just nitpicking. And quite frankly, I don't really know when I would use this. I think it just looks really cool. But one thing I have had to do on occasion, and then I never have the right setup for it, is drilling a hole through a large dowel or a cylindrical piece of wood. So with this guy, that should be able to be done very nice and easily. So we're gonna test it out just like this. How am I gonna clamp this thing down? I am gonna go ahead and do a little depth stop here, just like I'm gonna do a repeated cut at the beginning and the end. And I've got it on a 2x4 just so I don't drill through my bench. Let's see how this works. Look at this thing. This thing's just walking all over the place like I was saying. Wow, I am just grinding away this bushing. Oh boy. So, first of all, I'm trying to drill through an oak dowel, which is very hard, but also it is just grinding up. Oh no, there's metal shavings everywhere. No, look at that. I don't know if you could see that or not, but there are metal shavings everywhere. There's metal shavings on the end of the drill bit here and all in the flutes. And basically these bushings are not sized right. So I thought they were talking Freedom units, but maybe it was like Freedom adjacent. Definitely undersized, and it is going to ruin your drill bits if you use it. So I'm not even going to try these other ones out. That with the slipping piece, I had really high hopes. What a bummer. These are my really nice me-point bits. Brad point bits. I really wanted this thing to work because I like how it looked and everything, but these bushings are just not machined right. So I'll give it like 2 stars because it just still looks really cool and I like the idea of it. And you could probably swap those bushings out or widen them out with the right size drill bit with a metal bit, not a wood bit. But yeah, you're maybe 1.5 stars. What a bummer. I saved what I hope to be the best for last. So we're gonna open this guy up because this is similar to one of my favorite tools. And this guy is a depth stop countersinking bit. And this guy is an 8mm high-speed steel countersinking bit cutter. Riemann Demolition? I don't know what Riemann Demolition is, but this guy comes in at 4.9 stars and is $4.07. So very affordable. And this basically seems like a poor man's version of one of my favorite pieces of kit, which is this guy here, which is the Amana non-marring countersinking bit. This thing is amazing. It's also like 35 or 40 bucks. So, you know, this thing versus $4. Let's see how this guy works, because I can already kind of tell this thing is a bit jank. It's like a bunch of washers and bolts stuck together. Not sure how that's going to hold up. Let's try it out. All right, so let's see how this thing comes together first. And basically there is a little nut here on the end, and we're threaded. And I'm assuming I could just undo this. Yep. That is about as basic as it comes. We've got the countersink bit here, and then you could just move it up and down by threading this collar on here. And then we've got kind of a captured washer on the top that just spins freely. That is simple, elegant, brilliant, and something you could charge $4 for. All right, so if we adjust this down here, let's adjust it just so that we just get a countersunk, so it's not a counter bore. So I'll put this right up there. I'm gonna try to lock it down. So that's definitely a part I don't like, is everything else is round other than the nut here. And that's gonna cause a couple problems. One, I don't have anything else to lock down against unless I have it in my drill, which probably not great for the chuck. Let's see here. This is spinning the whole thing. That's what I thought. As I turn this entire thing just spins. It doesn't tighten and lock down. So this is not tightening at all. I need to be able to hold this end of it so I can lock it down. That's a big miss. All I had to do is put a couple flats on there, same thing as before. Well, we'll just test it as is and see what happens. So let's just say I wanted to drill this into the edge of another 3/4 inch board. So we're gonna do right at 3/8 of an inch. We're gonna have a line of screws. And I will use my little handy dandy combination square because it's actually pretty nice. And now let's see what we can do with this guy. Ooh, it did stop. So this little guy stops spinning when I've gone down to the bottom. But guess what? It's already moved on me. Let's go back to there. Yeah, this did not work the way that we would want it to. These are all kind of a little bit different because it is just moving. I think if there was a flat on here and we could really lock it down, if there was some way to make sure we could get this tighter, it would work well. But these are all kind of different depths on the countersink. And obviously, if you're wanting to drill multiple holes that are countersunk, you want them to all be the same depth. So as much as I would love to recommend this at only $4, I'll give it 3 stars because I'd say if you did Loctite it down and you wanted it to be just a certain amount, then that might actually be a decent way to go about it. But yeah, it is nothing compared to the Amana. If you want to see the first batch of the 5-star tools under $20, I got the video queued up for you right there. I'm Brad. Until next time, get out there and build something awesome.